This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, thank you for joining. And today we are going to discuss about SQL part. So we usually called as SQL. So before going to start, I will give you what is SQL and how much important it is. Then we can start practical sessions from tomorrow. So here SQL means structured query language. So many people will ask like which database you guys are using. So many people said that we are using SQL database. No, that is incorrect. So we'll use Oracle database, but here SQL is a language. SQL is a language. So language why we are going to use? To communicate. Whom it is going to communicate? Database. So SQL is a language to communicate the database. How I am going to communicate with you? How you guys are communicating with me? Through medium of English. Same time, like the same SQL is also to communicate with the user and database. Okay, so users, and then in between SQL is a language, and then database. Okay, so users are responding through SQL queries to get the data from the database. Database is responding the data according to the given SQL requirement to the users. So which means SQL is a language to communicate with the database. This is universal. This is universal, which means now we have discussed about there is no in any company or any project without database. Now we have only one language, universal language, that is SQL to communicate with the database. Where there is a database, there is SQL also. So without SQL, you can't communicate the database. Why we need to communicate? To perform multiple operations like insert, update, delete, and all. So I will give you very clear syntax explanation in a practical way. Right now, understand the SQL importance. It will be more useful in your career. Whoever you want to become a software engineer, the SQL part is going to play a vital role in the industry. So now let's go ahead here. Now, yes, we understand what is SQL. SQL is a language to communicate with the database. Don't say that SQL is a database. SQL is a language to communicate any type of database, any type of user, any type of database. SQL is a standard and universal language. Okay, sir, like where we used to use this SQL. Okay, now next question is where we use SQL or SQL, where we use SQL in the projects or wherever you want. So, as per my experience and according to the reports given by the senior levels, and SQL will be used in all the domains. All the domains. What do you mean by domain? You can say healthcare domain, It doesn't matter which domain you guys are working. Okay, you need perfect subject to understand the functionality of the domain. Banking, okay, and then you can say insurance, and you can see mm, healthcare, banking, insurance, e-commerce, okay, and networking, telecom, etc. All the domains this SQL is going to work on, because I will tell you why, sir, why this is going to be happen. If you say Apollo, okay, now it is a company Apollo which is healthcare, database required, and definitely SQL is required. Am I correct? Now banking, if you say HDFC or SBI, whatever, here also database required, then SQL is also required. Insurance you can take, let's say Star Health, okay, or Max Lives, whatever you can take. And I'm just taking only one client. You can, multiple clients. Database required. Definitely SQL is mandatory. E-commerce you take Amazon, okay, Flipkart, whatever you can take. So here also database required, and then when database required, definitely SQL is also required. So networking you can say routers configurations like Act Fibernet, okay, whatever. So multiple clients will be there. Here also to storage user data like this usage, whatever, okay. So here also SQL is required. Telecom means like you can say Geo, BSNL, whatever. Now here also database required, and then yes. So everywhere in the market, wherever database use, SQL also will use. This is the first step. Okay. And then SQL also used. Now if you are learning Python, suppose, yes, Python plus SQL is mandatory. If you are learning Java, yes, Java SQL is mandatory. If you are learning Power BI, if you are learning Power BI, SQL is mandatory. If you are learning Azure, yes, SQL is mandatory. If you are learning Big Data, SQL is mandatory. If you are learning Informatica, yes, SQL is mandatory. If you are learning Snowflake, Cloud DB, yes, SQL is mandatory. Okay. If you are learning data science, yes, SQL is mandatory. So which means SQL is going to be a very important role in the industry. That's what I suggest, like not like basic type of learning SQL. Yes, we are going to use advanced learning of SQL from day one. So whenever you understand the data science, Snowflake, Informatic, any technology outside you learn along with the ETL also, along with the ETL and SQL. And here in ETL, SQL will play 50% of role for DB testing. If you know SQL, strong SQL, 50% of 50% of subject it is going to cover. So that's why now understand how much importance of SQL. So if you can't explain SQL part, and I think you may not select an interview. Any technology you can take. So in this 50% of interview will take in SQL only. 50% of interview questions will come from SQL. Rest of that ETL, whatever. Okay. So now you understand the importance of this. Now it's not like basic level of learning like 1 to 2 days for like YouTube related and all. So you gain the subject, you can't gain the real time. You can't gain where to use and how the performance and all. Everybody will write SQL, but what is the major importance you can write it? How you can write performance wise? So anywhere you take, SQL is going to play very important role. So let's understand this point of discussion today to go ahead with a proper way of learning. So today I'm just giving you brief information. Tomorrow I can start directly with the practical, no theory. 90% of the class will be depends on the practical only. You have to frame the queries. I'll give the live examples to you. In front of me, you have to write it. So now DBMS system, a DBMS which is based on the relational theory is called Relational Database Management System. Or guys, previously there are so many databases in the market. So now we have databases. Let's say, so what are the databases in the market? I'll give you like Oracle database, MySQL database, SQL Server database, Oracle database, MySQL database, SQL Server database, and then Netezza database, DB2 database, okay, IBM products, and then Informix and Sybase, okay, and the Teradata. So these are some databases we have in the market. Everybody will use. Sir, there are so many databases, right? Should I learn all the database? No. There is one common factor here. That is SQL. So what means? Nowadays, all are learning ANSI SQL. ANSI SQL means American National Standard Institute SQL. So whenever we are launching any database with approval of ANSI, we need to start any database or community. So ANSI have given one report. You can use any type of database in the market, doesn't have any problem. But ANSI SQL percentage, 75%. 75% of SQL, ANSI SQL, American National Standard SQL, will be used in all the database as a common factor. So which means, let's say ANSI SQL will be 75% and then rest of will be 25%. Here also same. Now what is the common factor here? ANSI SQL. You got my point? So if you learn one database perfectly, you are going to learn almost 75% of in other databases. which means right now we are learning Oracle database. Now, if you learn perfectly, you are eligible to work in MySQL, SQL Server, Netezza, DB2, Informix, Sybase, and Teradata. But first 5 to 6 days, they will tell you how to log in the project. If you are learning Oracle database, if you get work in Teradata, yes, they will tell you how to log in the Teradata and all. But your syntax, your concept, everything is same. Copy paste. That's it. Syntax and meaning both will be same in all the databases. That means you can able to learn all the databases just a matter of 15 to 20 days. Got my point? So you can able to work. This is this common factor nobody knows. That's why many people will get confused. No? ANSI and SQL means all the syntaxes, concepts, everything will be same. If you write one query in SQL, you can able to paste everywhere. No need to change the query. It will execute. So that's why don't worry about if you get any type of other databases to work on it. Okay. So now all the databases previously means like long back DBMS. All the database is we can call it as database management system. Database management system. But nowadays all databases we can call it as RDBMS. Relational database sorry relational database management system. So means relations means what? We have tables and relationships. So tables and in between tables we will maintain the relationship like one table to another table relationship. That's why it is going to accept the tables relationship. We can call it as relational database management system. Nowadays, these all databases will accept the tables and their relationship. That's why we can call it as RDBMS. So relational theory is called relational database management system. So why we are going to use database here? What is the reason to use database? To store the data, right? To store the data means what? So why we use database? So here to store or to save, to store the data from the users for future analytics, to make business decisions. Okay, this is the standard definition. We used to store the data from the users for future analytics to make the business decisions. But here, whenever you are into, it is a collection of meaningful data. It is also as collection of meaning, collection of meaningful data. Collection of meaningful data means what? When you go to DMart, when you go to DMart, what they will collect? Customer name, okay, mail, and phone number. That's it, or address if possible. Now they won't collect like customer shirt color and customer vehicle number, customer height doesn't require. Whatever they require. Now if you go to bank, they will take like your same customer name, okay, mail, phone number, address, then gender, whatever. So they won't take like 10th class marks, SSC or inter marks, your behavior. No, not like that. Okay, you got my point. Not required for that. Now, if you go for OP, outpatients in healthcare, now what they will collect? Patient name and age, okay, gender, and disease information about the cause, disease info. They won't take like what I can say like biodata of education biodata and all. When you apply for loan, then they can take it. So which means collection of meaningful data. They don't require unnecessary data, because if you have unnecessary data in your mobile, for example, if you have more photos, more data, the application mobile performance will be low. Am I correct? At the same time, what you will do, you are going to delete unnecessary photos, videos, information and all. At the same time, whenever you are using unwanted data, the database performance will be decrease. That's why we can not take unwanted data, and if we get unwanted data, we are going to delete it to perform the database perform to make the best database performance. So that is why we can say it is a collection of meaningful data to store the data from the users for future analytics to make the business decisions. Wherever you go, we need to collect the data for future analytics only. We need to track the business, whether how the customers are responding, whether they are liking the product or they are not liking the product, or how many sales happen, and which state or which country is buying more. So we are going to get the future analytics. That's why we will be using database. So in this database, we will be having four important activities. It is a software itself that manages to database system should able to perform the following activities very easily. So whatever I told you, these all the databases, and some other databases also will come. But here, inserting the new data. So what you will do, inserting the new data. New data means if you join as an employee, for example, TCS, they will create employee ID, right? That is called new data. When you go to ICICI Bank, they will give you bank account number. Yes, that is called new data. And updating the existing data. For example, you collected some bank application you given, and some pin code is mismatched. What you will do, you cannot take another bank account number. At the same bank account number, you are going to update the pin code, address, phone, mobile, wherever need to change. Same like how you are doing for Aadhaar update. Only one number only we given, not like all. For every update, they won't give you new Aadhaar number. Only one Aadhaar number. Deleting unnecessary data. If you are not using the like account or account whatever, they are going to delete it. Retrieving the required data. So when you go to bank for bank statement, then they will request the data from the historical database, and they will generate the reports for you. 1 or 2 days it will take, or 1 day it will take, because it is going to collect from the OLAP system. means that is called retrieving means selecting only. Okay, getting the data for analysis to track the business. So what are the four activities we are going to do as a database or ETL person? Inserting the new data, updating the existing data, deleting unnecessary data, retrieving the required data. Insert, update, delete, and retrieve, that is select. These are database performance activities. Entire our data, our entire our source, and we are going to perform this. Majorly retrieving the required data. We can write more SQL part as a tester. Even developer also same thing. Retrieving or selecting is the major responsibility of a tester. So strong SQL language required to perform to beat the developers. So if developer subject is more, then how you can able to understand developer code? So that means you need subject more than developer to understand, to write better, to analyze better, to get the quick results. So examples of databases like Oracle, SQL Server, DB2, MySQL, Sybase, and Teradata, whatever the database is that it will be have. Okay. So here SQL is a structured query language pronounced as SQL. This language is used to communicate to the Oracle database. So we are dealing with the Oracle database between, because 90% of the projects are Oracle databases. So once we complete like 12 to 15 classes of this, then we can jump into the manual testing, ETL, data warehousing concepts, and remaining all other part. So this is the first concept we are going to learn, SQL commands. What do you mean by SQL commands? The first concept in SQL is commands. So many people thought that I know SQL, I am perfect in SQL and all. It's not commands, something else. Just commands is 0.001% information only. So try to understand and grab it like a experienced person. 5 to 6 years of experience subject is required to beat at least 3 to 4 years of experience interview. So to understand SQL commands, you need minimum, not now, from tomorrow or after tomorrow onwards, minimum 2 to 3 hours regular practice is required, and days going on, then we can increase our practice to 4 hours to 5 hours. When you are reaching with the project, then you can increase 6 to 8 hours, then directly for attacking the interviews. So those who can plan proper way, they can get proper success. So let's begin with the SQL commands, guys. I'll just give you high level information. Tomorrow I will start with the practical sessions. So SQL commands, we have 5 important SQL commands will be there. What is, like, what are the commands? They will ask like in interview, can you please explain SQL commands? You can think, you can just by heart it also, but need meaningful. So we have DDL commands, DML commands, DRL commands, TCL commands, and DCL commands. We have 5 types of commands. What are they? Read it 1 minute. So we have DDL commands, DML commands, DRL commands, TCL commands, and DCL commands. So what are the DDL commands? Data definition language. DML stands for data manipulation language. DRL stands for data retrieval language. Data retrieval or data query language. Transactional control language. Data control language. Okay, transactional control language and data control language. So we have 5 commands in SQL. DDL commands, DML commands, TRL, TCL, and DC. So these two are very powerful, and these three you can learn just matter of 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, but focus on these two. Okay, they will ask like, can you please explain what are the DDL commands? Can you please explain what are the DML commands, like that? So when you talk about DDL commands, we have this language data. DDL command, data definition language, is used to manage the database object. It is collection of 5 commands. So DDL commands, how many? 5. What are they? Create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename. At any time you need to by heart it, you need to use it. Create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename. These are the 5 DDL commands. Now DML commands. This language is used to manipulate the data that we have stored. It is a collection of 4 commands. That is DML, data manipulation. DML commands will be 4. DML commands will be 5. Insert, update, delete, merge. What are the DML commands? Insert, update, delete, and merge. Without any confusion, you need to understand this. So let's go on a small example, guys, to understand more better between DML and DDL. Suppose assume this is a database. Okay. Now let me understand this here. So this is all, like, you can call it as database. So this database will have 2 parts. Okay. What are the 2 parts in the database? One is RAM, RAM, random access memory, or buffer, or you can say temporary space, temporary memory, temporary memory. This is called disk actually. Disk means it's a permanent memory. Okay. Now we have 2 parts. One is temporary, that is RAM. Second one is disk actually. So when it consider, we have DDL commands and we have DML commands. Now data definition language and data manipulation language. Now all the DDL commands, deal with disk actually. Now all the DML commands deal with temporary memory, not permanent. Got my point? So whenever we are working with the DDL commands, what will happen? It is going to store permanently. Whenever we are performing DML operations, it is not going to work, not going to store permanently, because it will deal with the temporary memory, that is called RAM. Now, sir, why we are going to store automatically when you perform DML operations in the disk? Why not in DML? You understand, DDL command will have auto commit option. Auto commit means save only. Auto save. Auto save. Now you don't need to save wantedly. When you perform these DDL commands, that is like create, alter, drop, truncate, rename, that is going to affect the disk. It is going to store permanently in the database. Got my point? But when it's matter with the DML command, when it's matter with the DML, it is not going to store, because the thing is no auto commit. no auto commit for the DML comments. So what we need to do? We need to give manual auto commit means we need to apply commit for DML operations. So for every update DML operations, if you perform commit, it will save into disk again. But here we need to give commit here. If you give commit, it will store permanently. So that's why whenever you perform any DML operation, commit is mandatory to perform after every DML operations. After every DML operations means insert, update, delete, merge. After every DML operations, to store permanently, commit is required. So now once again, here DDL deal with the structures. Okay, and DML commands deal with data. Structures means only structures. No, DDL commands never touch with data. DML commands never touch with structures, only data. Which means DDL commands deal with structures, table structures. DML commands deal with data manipulations. Got my point, everybody? So let me explain once again. DDL, I will write it here to understand more better. Okay, because they will ask most important interview question. If they want to start SQL questions from the beginning, they can start from the commands only. So here DDL deals with table structures. Okay, DML deals with data only. Okay, and second, DDL stores DDL commands stores permanently, and DML commands stores temporarily, because no auto commit. DDL command stores permanently because because of auto commit option. Okay, now DDL has 5 commands, and DML has 4 commands. Okay, now understand auto commit is there. It is structure with it will deal with temporary memory and it will deal with disk, or you can write it one more option. DDL commands deal with disk, and the DML commands deal with RAM or buffer. Okay, so these are all. You can write it what are the commands, 5 commands, and DML commands, 4 commands. You can by heart it and explain. So when they are asking in any interview question, you can explain like this. So we are not kids, we are not children to say whatever like confused answers. Not very clear, dignified, slow and steady with clear analytics. They can check your confidence level and they can select based on your delivery skills also. That is also important. Okay, so DDL deal with table structures, DDL deals with and data only. Okay, and never touch with structures and never touch with data. DDL never touch with data, DML never touch with the structures. DDL command stores permanently because of auto commit option. DML command stores temporarily because of no auto commit option. We need to give commit option to store every DML transaction. Mandatory. DDL commands deal with disk to save permanently. DML commands deal with RAM, which is temporary, that is called temporary memory, that is called buffer. DDL commands, five commands we have, that those are like create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename. DML has 4 commands, data manipulation commands. Those are like insert, update, delete, and merge. Okay, like this you need to prepare. So from tomorrow onwards, we can start with the practical sessions with the syntax basic. Okay, so try to practice regularly from tomorrow to understand, to listen this class once again, to get more better confidence. Okay, just 7 days, you just wait for to close the basics, and after that we can start with the advanced SQL and all. I am dealing with them from core standards, so try to get an opportunity to learn in a proper manner. Okay, you don't worry about all interview questions, resumes, Naukri preparation, experience information, HR questions, and all your depends. Just learn the technology, automatically those will happen. Okay, so that's all guys. Tomorrow we can start with the practical sessions. Have a great day.